Woo-hoo-hoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday. I have a special guest in the house today, a fellow Canadian, a fellow LinkedIn enthusiast, and a fellow Bitmoji fan. Woo-hoo-hoo! So that is what we're talking about today, guys. We are talking about boosting your brand with Bitmojis. And we're going to have a fun conversation. So before we get started, Leanne, please, can you introduce yourself and just let people know who you are and what you do before we get stuck in?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Gillian. Hey, everyone. My name is Leanne Calderwood. I'm a LinkedIn and personal branding trainer out of Kelowna, BC, Canada. We're located about 4 hours east of Vancouver, for those of you familiar with the Vancouver region. I predominantly work in the meetings, events, and hospitality industry. That's where I've hung my hat for 20 years, but also been hanging my hat on LinkedIn for a long, long time, and happy to now teach others how to use LinkedIn to optimize their leads and bring in more business to their organizations.
Awesome. Awesome summary. Awesome summary. So today we're talking about boosting your brand with Bitmojis. And I'll just go ahead and pop our Bitmojis up, who are having a cup of tea. It's just so adorable. They're so adorable.
They are so cute.
For anybody who doesn't know what Bitmojis are, we'll just do a very quick what they are, and then we'll get into how we're using them. So Bitmojis are free. Anybody can get a Bitmoji. All you need is a phone, and you just go to your phone, you go to the Bitmoji app, and I'll put it in the show notes, unless Jeff Young is already doing it for me, because he's always so good typing things in. And you create your Bitmoji to look like you. It's the inner you. So you can see mine has brown curly hair. Leanne's is very stylish with platinum hair, and it's just beautiful. And you can choose your clothing, and do you want them to be tall and skinny or short and fat, or whatever you want them to be. And then what's cool is that there's now a Chrome extension, so you can basically type in anything. So you could type in birthday and you'll see them doing happy birthday or Thanksgiving or being cool or saying hello or just whatever you want. There's so many. They can ski, they can do all the things that you can't do. Your Bitmojis can do. It's like your alter ego. So they're pretty cool. And the reason Leanne and I both use our Bitmojis in our LinkedIn marketing, and we'll talk about that. And essentially, the reason I got this whole idea was you had just done a carousel, which is like a cool thing. So want to tell everybody about your carousel, because it was amazing. And I'll put a link to it because it was all Bitmojis.
Thank you. Well, so I need to start by saying, Gillian, you were the inspiration to my carousel, and we should put that. It was a carousel, but the carousel was all about ourselves. So it was called the carousel, #carousel. So if you feel inclined to make one yourself, use that hashtag. But yeah, I wanted to use Bitmojis because as I started to think, how am I going to put this carousel together? And I was thinking about all the things that are unique to me. I didn't have a lot of great pictures, and I certainly didn't have branding pictures, right? Like we've all got, or at least when you start to develop a personal brand, you may go out and invest in some branding pictures, but very rarely do those branding pictures reflect what you do on the weekend, with your family or in your garden, et cetera, so on. So then I thought, well, I'm going to go to Bitmoji and see what I can find. And wouldn't you know it, I found all of these great pictures that kind of exemplified who I was, but it was my alter ego. It was my Leanne. So that's kind of how the carousel came together with the Bitmojis. And you're right. I loved the final product. Again, with Bitmoji, it was easy to put together. And so the actual putting together of the carousel, it almost came together I had so much fun doing it. I lost track of time, but it didn't take a lot of time in the end.
I love it. And they're colorful. And you're
Mhm.
right. You can bring them in. They can be skiing and skating, and they can
Yeah,
be, with their dog, with your cat, all sorts of different things. So it's
yeah.
a good way to, I think there's like 3 or 4 where they're drinking tea, they're drinking
Yes.
coffee, eating Thanksgiving dinner, like, eating the pumpkin pie and being too full. They're just very, very fun.
Yeah.
And I use Bitmojis in mine as well. I used a combination of Bitmojis and photos, so I kind of put those two together. So I'll put a link to both of our carousels into the show notes, because
Yes.
it is something that I recommend everybody do one of these things, because we do want to work with people, not
Yeah.
just brands. And
Mhm.
carousels are a way of letting people know a little bit about you in a fun way. That's just a quick little slider document. You go all the way through, and they're just so fun. So I love that. So how did you even start using Bitmojis? What's your Bitmoji story?
My Bitmoji story was Gillian Whitney. I mean, you started dropping comments into my LinkedIn content with your Bitmoji. And that is my story, Gillian. It was all because of you. So now you're creating like this Bitmoji community. So congratulations. Um, but it was so playful, and I got to know you on a deeper level because of an animated image. And I know that sounds really odd, and it sounds odd, but it shows a playful side of
Yes.
oneself. And when you're lacking that image that can really convey what it is you're trying to give to another person, whether it's in a piece of content or in a comment, a Bitmoji can communicate a lot. They
Yep.
say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And when I saw your Bitmojis in my content, that's exactly what I got from you. Is you were communicating so much more than just the copy written down on the page. So that's what's encouraged me to do more Bitmojis. Is I saw the incredible impact that yours have on other people's LinkedIn journeys, and the relationships that you've been able to create with people because of Gillian Moji. So that is my story.
Great. That's
And I
great.
don't use them definitely to the extent that you use them, but it's such a great opportunity for people who want to show their personality and want to infuse a little bit of fun into their personal brand, right? This is all going back to our personal brands
Yep.
and what we want our personal brands to say about ourselves. And it's just such a great way to amplify your brand by having this animated character.
I agree. I agree. And I love the Bitmojis, because as soon as I see somebody's Bitmoji, they're more memorable to me.
Mhm.
And also too, I use it as a filter, because to be honest with you, if somebody said, I don't really want to work with somebody that has cartoons, then I'm
Mhm.
not right. I'm not a good fit for them, because I'm lighthearted, and I bring this with my coaching. I bring this with my teaching. Everything I do, I don't worry about being perfect and strict and this and that. So it kind of filters people out for me, that if you think these
Mhm.
are ridiculous, then I'm probably not a good fit for you, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But when I see other people who do have Bitmojis, there's an instant connection and bonding, and I go, "Oh gosh, there he is with his Bitmoji," and
Yeah.
it's like they stand out. They stand out in the comments. Like if you ever look at John's, here's a really, really great example. John Asperian every Friday does his Friday shout for someone new he highlights on LinkedIn. And so many people around John, because we all learned to get Bitmojis, because that's who I learned from. John had a
Yeah.
Bitmoji, and I went, I'd like one, because I was being a comment person. I wasn't even posting anything yet. I was learning LinkedIn by being a person who showed up in the comments. And as an introvert, that was like my way of joining a conversation, but I felt a little self-conscious. So Jillian Bitmo could say things in comments that maybe I wasn't ready to talk about yet. So it was just kind of an interesting introduction. But if you look at John's Friday Shout post, so many people who have Bitmojis put their Bitmoji in the comments. So you
Yeah.
see them all. It's kind of fun.
Well, and I love what you said there about, you know, taking that step of faith in the comments. And Gillian Bitmoji and Leanne Bitmoji, they're a bit more confident than us at
Yep.
times, right?
Yep.
And as
Yep.
introverts, and I know we talked about this in the pre-show, but for people who are just starting to get comfortable with their LinkedIn journey and they're just starting to create some content or respond to content, and they're feeling those reservations and wondering how to get started, it is a great way of putting your toe in the pool, I guess.
Yep.
And seeing what works. And I don't want to bore everyone with the history of LinkedIn, but as you recall, when LinkedIn started, it was never supposed to be this personal branding platform. It was always supposed to be about, you know, job seeking and job posting, stuffy white collars, et cetera, so on. And then as the platform has grown, we're now seeing this clash of the personal and the professional brand, which is why Bitmojis have become this common language now in the platform. It wasn't like that 10 years ago when I was on the platform. It wasn't like that for you either, Gillian. But aren't we happy, and aren't we, I guess,
Yes.
relieved? And now we have these options to be a bit more personal on the platform. So that's what I love about it too.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And I use my Bitmojis in everything. I use them they can, like, if you have Canva, you can bring your Bitmojis into Canva and you can stick them on photographs. You can put them in carousel posts. You can put them in videos. I put my Bitmojis everywhere. They come in my PowerPoint presentations. The only caveat that I will tell you is you got to be very careful if you are trying to do something that's like a commercial thing. So for instance, if you were writing a book, you couldn't have your book illustrated with Bitmojis. So that's kind of the slippery slope that you want to make sure you read the terms of service and all that good sort of stuff. But for marketing purposes, Bitmojis, you can just have at it. And they even have a Bitmoji Friends thing. So you can actually, it's kind of a cool thing. It's another app you can have on your phone. And then what you can do is you can invite your friends who have Bitmojis to connect with you. And then you can have Bitmojis where the two of you are together. So you can
we could be having a cup of tea sitting together. Oh my gosh.
Yes. And it could show us like on a car trip, the two of us on a car trip, and just, you know, all sorts of fun things. So, you know, this is just something that you can kind of go crazy with. And, you know, you could have different outfits. You can do all sorts of stuff. So it's just a fun thing.
Love it. Thelma and Louise. You're definitely Thelma. But that would be so much fun. Oh my God.
I promise not to drive us off the Grand Canyon.
Death of Gillian Moji and Leanne Moji. That would be heartbreaking. But yeah, wouldn't that be great if we could have that virtual cup of tea or do that virtual walk through Paris under the Eiffel Tower with our little hats? And
exactly.
So
and it's good. And I've even done some things where I've brought my Bitmojis as a custom filter into Zoom. So yes, like if I'm on a Zoom call with people, I can pop my Bitmoji up and she can appear. So I have a link for that. I've showed a lot of people how to do that. And that's way cool. That's way fun too. So I see we have some comments. So let me hop over to the comments, Leanne. And actually, let me make sure the banner's off. The comments are on. Okay, doing it all. Here we go. Don't want to miss it. Okay, we got Jeff. Bitmoji Jeff, my alter ego with the cape. And I am looking forward to learning about personal branding superpowers from Bitmo Gillian and Bitmo Leanne. Namaste. Just love Jeff.
Where's Bitmo Jeff? I haven't seen Bitmo Jeff. Can Bitmo Jeff make an appearance in the comments, please? Because I would love to see.
Only afterwards. That's the sad thing about when it's a LinkedIn Live. You can't put anything into the comments and they don't display, but they can go in afterwards. Okay. So we even have one where Jeff and I are like Superman and Superwoman, and we're just right beside each other. So they were very, very fun. We've got Annette coming in. Hi from New York City. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, Annette. We got G. Hi, ladies. She has a fabulous Bitmoji. And I think that G and I have done the Bitmoji Friends because I thought we had one or two together. So We
So
were an
glamorous.
example. Yes,
Yeah.
very glamorous.
So
I think
glamorous.
we both had sunglasses on and we're looking very cool. We've got Jane.
Oh,
Hi there. Love
Jane.
the teacups. The teacups are adorable,
Fellow,
aren't they?
wow. We're both tea drinkers. I'm a tea. It's an unhealthy habit, but yeah, Jane, would love to see your teacup Bitmoji in the comments for this live show. That'd be awesome.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. I would like a German version with them eating a pretzel. You know
Okay.
what? That might be possible. So
I'm
that's the
looking
fun
for it
thing
right
about,
now.
yeah, when you pull up the Bitmoji app, like the Chrome extension on your computer, I use that more than my phone. So I
Yeah.
use my phone to make my Bitmoji, but pretty much everything else I just use the Chrome extension for. And you can type in a word like pretzel, and there might be a pretzel. You know, it might be Bitmoji Gillian eating a pretzel, or she looks like a pretzel, and all sorts of fun stuff. So it might be possible.
Yeah.
So much fun, so much fun. Okay, we're going to have Jeff help our LinkedIn user, because that's always the hard part when you show up as a blank head. It's a setting thing. Jeff will help you. He's always so good about that. Not odd at all, Leanne. Your avatar Bitmoji can show your personality too. It's so true. It's so true. It really does. It really does. Great point, Gillian. Just because you express yourself with a cartoon doesn't mean you are a cartoon. No, it just means you're lighthearted. It means that you like just at least a little bit of fun. And it's just, you know, I always say it's for artist wannabes. Like, I wish I could draw. I'm working on it. I'm taking a course. I'm working on it. But she can do everything I can't do, which is nice.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
You know, I'm glad you brought up the whole artist thing, because I have a son who's an online artist. So he does animations and stuff. He's 14 and has a YouTube channel. And so he can do all of that online. I can't, right? I have Bitmoji now. I don't need to learn how to do all the online animation. But he was asking me about how to design his banner and his logo for his YouTube channel. And I said, well, use one of the animations you've done of you. So it's separate from a Bitmoji. And I get this is a conversation of a Bitmoji, but I was trying to communicate to my son that people will resonate better with even an animated picture of him than of a logo, right? Like a Coke logo or you know, whatever. So so he's done that now, and he's created an animated version of him, which is so fantastic. And he's starting to create that connection, and he's starting to own it, but he was really reluctant. And you know, I think people are missing the power of a person, a face. And even if it's a Bitmoji face, it communicates more than any other object that you would be able to put in your graphics. So anyways, for those who have underage people out there on YouTube, consider doing something like a Bitmoji or something like an animation to kind of bring your channel to life. So
that's good. And it's interesting because I did a series, which was like when I first started getting on LinkedIn, I wanted to have good people to follow, to learn from, because I didn't know how to use the platform. So I began following leaders. And then later I wanted to shout out these leaders who had helped me in my LinkedIn journey for people who are beginning their LinkedIn journey. So I started a series of videos called Follow the LinkedIn Leader. And I just did like a 3-minute video summarizing a particular person. And then I put them all on my YouTube channel. Well, because they were about that person and not about me, I didn't want to be on the video. It felt silly. But I thought, but I still wanted somehow my branding to come in. So Bitmojillian shows up on the screen as so that you're reminded who made this video. So it's just a little subtle thing, but I thought that kind of went with the YouTubes, that it's like they're a good thing to add to your YouTubes to lighten it up if you don't want to be on camera. This is a way.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. And now we're talking about it, right? You don't, if you are afraid to be on camera or afraid to show photography of yourself, this is a great way to do it. And you can do it, you know, doing just about anything, eating pretzels in Germany and Yeah, I
drinking
still
a
have
cup
to
of
look to see
tea.
if that's popped up, but yeah,
Or being
it,
Superman,
yeah,
that works too.
it
So
does.
Sandy says, "Hi, Gillian and Leanne. I got distracted
Mm,
with work. I forgot to join on time. Thank goodness there's a replay. So we're glad you showed up. Hi, Christopher. I'm here to learn. Good. We're glad. We're happy to have you. Yay,
yeah.
yay. We've got Brian. I originally had Bitmoji for WhatsApp chats during
Yeah.
a conference about 5 years ago, and I have used ever since, sparingly though. And that's
Yeah.
okay. It's like wherever they fit into your work life or not,
Mhm,
they're good.
mhm.
But it's just kind of nice to have them. And every once in a while, somebody says, "Oh my goodness, I have to fix the hair." All of a sudden, I have
Right
short
now.
hair now, and you can edit these. You can edit these, so they don't have to wear. My poor Bitmoji, she's been wearing a black shirt forever, but so do I. So it kind of works. But she's probably going, "Couldn't I have pink? Couldn't I
Yeah.
have pink now?" So Jihan says, "Preach on
Mm,
Bitmojis being a client filter, Gillian Whitney." It's so true. And I think that that's probably a good thing, especially for introverts, is that we're not for everybody.
mhm,
And as we make our brand on LinkedIn or, wherever we're trying to make our noise on the internet, we do want to just really find a way to reach the people that are trying to find us. And,
mhm.
we do have to have these filters. And, if somebody doesn't like dealing with Canadians, you and I are both out, Leanne.
Oh, we're so nice. And we
Oh, we're so
apologize all
nice.
the time. I'm so
That's right.
sorry.
That's right.
Please work with
And
Canadians.
we
I'm
come
sorry.
bearing teacups. We come
Yeah.
bearing teacups. Dawn says, if Dawn Moji offends you, we'll probably have a pretty superficial relationship. I
Mhm,
try
mhm.
not to take myself too seriously. That is perfect. That is perfect. And I believe I've seen Dawn's
Mhm,
Bitmojis, and they're very good. They're very good.
mhm.
Let's see. Okay. I think I might have.
Oh, no, we gotta figure that out.
Okay, my Bitmoji Friends hasn't worked. I keep forgetting we need to figure that one out. I think I've mentioned this before, or maybe Bitmoji is meant to go it alone. Ooh.
Her Bitmoji is actually Bitmoji. Like, that's not even fair. That's so ridiculously cute, honestly.
It is. It
Like,
is. And the thing that I would always tell people, if you ever think a program's not working on your phone, you probably need to update the app. That's
mm,
always,
yeah, yeah.
update that app. Same with LinkedIn. I had somebody the other day, they were like, "I can't find the profile videos." And I said, "Update the app." And they're like, "I haven't updated it for 3 years." And it's like, well, that's why it's
Maybe
not
that's
working.
why.
That's why.
Surprised I
That's
can
why.
still get in. Um,
Those carousels from people are awesome. They really are. And again, I encourage everyone, so does Leanne. We encourage
yeah,
you to make one because people want to know about you.
yeah,
It's a conversation starter. So if you think about if you were to go and have a virtual cup of coffee or a virtual cup of tea with somebody, if they had a Bitmoji, sorry, not Bitmoji, if they had a carousel on their featured section,
mhm,
you could very quickly say, "Oh, you have a family, you go skiing, you do
yeah,
this, you hike, you drink tea." All of a sudden now we have these conversation starters
yeah.
and just bearing a little bit of your soul. I Before we met today, or before we started the show today, because we've already met, Leanne and I both have very, very similar personality traits. I
Mhm,
only learned what she is because she actually puts it on her LinkedIn profile that she is an
mhm.
INTJ and
Yes.
I'm an INFJ.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
amazed I could do that right. And 3 out of 4 personality characteristics we share, but we immediately knew our differences because Leanne is like a super genius thinker and I'm a super feeler, empathy person. And so these are the little bits about letting people know a bit about you,
Mhm.
and what a great fit. What a great fit. So very,
Well,
very
and it
cool.
and it goes back to that client filter you were talking about, Jillian. I remember once, and this is going back a couple years now, I put an emoji in one of my business emails. And they were always well received. It was just the smiley face. It was the one you could do with your keyboard where you do colon bracket and all of a sudden,
Right, right.
and the easy way. Oh, and that's an INTJ too. That's awesome. And it's Anyways, so my client, who I adore and she's quite lovely, she responded to say, "Oh, that's surprising you have an emoji in a work email." And I
Ooh.
said, "Yeah, I actually do." And she's like, "I'm not a fan of them." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So for her, I stopped putting emojis in emails. That was 3 years ago. About 3 weeks ago, I got an email from her because we're doing some work again together. Wouldn't you know it, there's an emoji in her email. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So like, it just goes to show how the professional work has changed. It's
Yes.
changed on LinkedIn. It's changed in our work settings. It's not for every industry. My industry is a little bit more laid back and open. I mean, we're in meetings and events, so it's a little bit more hospitable.
Right.
So it might not work for every industry. And that's the thing, is when you're playing with the idea of using a Bitmoji, you know, maybe sitting in a teacup isn't the best Bitmoji to start with, but there's going to be one that you can start with given your industry. So, you know, and play with it, right? That's the whole thing about content creation on LinkedIn or any other platform. It's about testing and testing and testing. So if your Bitmoji isn't resonating and your audience is like, what is happening here? Then you're done testing, right? And you start to test something else. So
yeah, it's not for you.
It's not for you. It doesn't have to be for everyone. What Gillian and I are sharing is how it does help our industries, and how, to Gillian's point, it does become a bit of a client filter. Because my clients, and Gillian's the same, we want our clients to see that we are testing new content strategies and testing new theories, because that's what they want to learn from us. So that's one of the reasons we play around with these things, is to see how people respond.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Let's see. That was from G. So, okay.
Jane's going to be sitting in a teacup. I just know it.
She is. She is. She says, go for it. Go for it. Okay. Jihan and Jane, I'm pretty sure you can find templates for carousels in Canva. Well, I don't know if it's necessarily the carousel, but it's like there are templates that you can use in Canva. So it's like, really, Canva has everything now. It's just amazing what you can do. So
1080 by 1080. Yeah.
Yes.
Just use that dimension, square.
Yeah, just make them
1080 by
square. Yeah, and one of the reasons why we like to make them square is that they just then display better on both mobile and desktop, because we have actually more users now on LinkedIn that are on their phone, but there's still a lot that are on desktop. Me. And so it's nice if you can do the square sliders, because then they just look good for everybody. So, and then you could probably repurpose it and send it over to Instagram or wherever else you're at. So that's good. That's good. Oh, okay. So Jeff's helping somebody with their LinkedIn setup. Okay. Annette says they add personality. They sure do. They sure do. And Annette and I actually did, I think it was like for some sort of like creator day. It was like sponsored by like the LinkedIn creators, and they wanted us to do like a celebration of life, which to us sounded like a funeral, but it was their term. It was a very weird thing, because we're like, this sounds like a funeral. But anyways, we did a thing with just our Bitmojis, and we made a little video with nothing but our Bitmojis in it, and it was just really, really fun to do that. Yeah. Oh, good. She's gonna go undo her carousel. INTJ. Oh, isn't that interesting?
INTJ. So, Annette, when you do your carousel, make sure that you tag Gillian and I, because we'd love to see it. I don't want to miss it, right? So, so make sure that you tag us somewhere, either in the copy or in the comments, so we can come and take a look at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Leanne, I've heard INTJ is the perfect consultant.
Oh, yes.
ESFJ. SF stands for Super Friend. Super Friend.
I feel like, Jeff and I are almost completely opposite, which is interesting. Yeah, both of us are almost completely opposite of Jeff. But yeah, Jeff.
But you find that one letter. If you find that one letter, you realize, oh, so for instance, you're both J's, which means that if you were to go and have a coffee date, you're not going to flake. You're both going to be there. You're pedantic. You're going to have the link. You're going to show up on time. It's the people that end with P's. You're going, where are they?
Yeah. I'm a meeting planner by trade. I will be there. I will be there every time.
Exactly. Okay. So surprisingly, we've run out of time. Just like the time just goes flying. So is there anything that you would kind of want to leave with us as that sort of like your takeaway, Leanne, of the whole with Bitmojis?
Yeah, we'll start with one. Okay. When you get onto the Bitmoji app and the Chrome extension, your whole day can evaporate looking for different fun things. Find one that really resonates with you and just start putting it in some comments here and there. Remember, it's about testing, right? So we're going to test that one tiny little picture of ourselves in a few different places and see what the response is. As you start to get more comfortable and it's not becoming a time suck for you, then maybe move on to that carousel idea or pop your Bitmoji into some of the different media that you're playing with, be it a blog post or a live like we're doing here. So start small and don't get sucked into the Bitmoji suck, because you can.
You can.
Like being in grade 3, I'm going to go see a picture of myself. I'm going to design a Bitmoji.
And a tip is you can also save them on your computer, and you know, you don't have to go and find a new one every single time. If you find one, like I found one that was like easy peasy. Well, that's my motto. So it's like, I just stick that up in everything. So that's what you can do. You can just go ahead, download them, and then, you know, keep them in a little folder, and then they're good to go, and you can always just use them. So it's good to know.
So yeah, that would be my one tip. If you're going to find one, use the one that speaks to your brand. So the easy peasy one for Gillian makes complete sense. Actually, the one in the teacup makes complete sense to me. A big part of my brand is that I'm a chronic tea drinker. So the tea ones always work well for me. Start with that one. That one's going to cement your personal brand a little bit quicker than if I was the one using easy peasy, or Gillian was eating a pretzel in Germany, right? There's a bit of a disconnect with that, you know? But if it's part of your brand, then that's the one maybe you should start testing, see what happens.
I love that. That's a great tip. Okay, well, thank you very much for being here today, Leanne. This has just been awesome. Thank you, everybody who joined us. I hope you learned something. Bitmojis are fun. So this is probably the best fun you can have to boost your brand, is to play with cartoon characters all day. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.